Okay, so did it last? I'll let y'all draw your own conclusions. Let me get y'all set up here. Spoilers, yeah, it lasted. It lasted. But it's been absolutely untouched as far as the mowing deck and everything goes since 2021. So I'm just going to show you the state that it's in. Come on up there. There we go. There we go. $19.97 MTD. And y'all, this was a used lawnmower when I got it. It ran perfect in every way, but it had a sump seal leak on the opposing Briggs 2-cylinder in it. And at the time I was working with an appliance and electronics repair store in Nashville, Georgia. And we also sold John Deere lawnmowers, and this was a trade-in. Somebody traded this in for an AYP style John Deere, and my boss at the time had absolutely no regard for MTD at all. Nothing MTD. Nothing MTD errands, nothing other than John Deere, you know. He was a John Deere dealer and very fanatical about it. And at the time he said that selling this lawnmower used to anybody would just be a way to make an enemy. So it was there free for the asking. We had somebody who used to get all of our junk appliances and everything back then for you know, just scrap parts, and sometimes he'd take like 2 or 3 washing machines and make one, you know, and he would sell used appliances. But that's where this lawnmower was heading if I had not intercepted it and just gotten it for free back then. And it cranked and it ran and it worked. Only thing it had was a terrible oil leak at the sump seal on the engine. And back then I was a stronger, younger man than I am now. And I went ahead and I did not rebuild the engine. I went ahead and just replaced the sump seal. This opposing 2-cylinder Briggs has never been rebuilt. It has never been rebuilt. And then I used it for years, and then as you saw, it eventually ended up with a hole in the deck large enough to sink the Titanic. So that and carburetor trouble and just various other small things had me shopping for a new lawnmower a few years ago, and I got to watching the channel Terrell Fixes All, who is, I highly recommend that channel, Terrell Fixes All. Anybody familiar with pterodactyl? He really inspired me to maybe just go ahead and keep this old MTD. So I did, and a new mowing deck for it was going to cost more than $800, and that's not even counting shipping and handling. So I decided, to go against everything everybody in South Georgia says, about JB Weld won't ever work for that. It'll never work. It'll never work. It'll never last. They said, son, if you repair that thing with JB Weld, you're just wasting your time. You need to get a plate welded across that deck and blah, 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 blah. So I never did do that. I went ahead and decided, you know what? I'm going to try it anyway. I just got a thin piece of just scrap metal, not even heavy gauge. I mean, y'all, it was literally just kind of like aluminum, that stuff. In fact, I think it actually was an aluminum alloy, the way it bent so easily and formed up so easily. But anyway, I decided I was going to use JB Weld and a lot of it. So I did that and decided that the JB Weld will add all the reinforcement and everything. But I was a little bit worried because sticks and twigs and all in the yard being chopped up, that it would erode it away and I'd end up with another hole in the deck. So where the air baffle indentation is in the deck, I went ahead and as you saw, I filled it right up to the brim. So it's been all these years later, and the deck has been untouched since then. It does need a new deck belt at this point. But here we are in 2025, and I'm going to jack this thing up and let y'all just see underneath it at how well this job is held up. Okay, we're going to start off with the top side of the mowing deck, and the pictures you just saw a while ago, you can see she's had some wear and tear put on her in these years. I've got a very difficult, uncooperative yard to mow here, and always hazards in place. We've been through a few sets of blades since 2021, but if I push all this back, you can see that is all still just as solid with that JB Weld as it can be. It is still just as solid as it was the day I filled all of this in here with JB Weld. And as somebody that used to occasionally run into JB Weld in appliance service where do-it-yourselfers had used it, I knew it would set. The original formula JB Weld would set just rock hard, and I could not see any way that any grass or just twigs or anything which failed to be picked up beforehand were ever going to wear through all of that. I'll blow it off right quick so we can get a better look before we look underneath. Okay. Y'all might get a better look than I'm getting right now, but that is the JB Weld feel from 2021, and we are about to see the main point of wear on this Mower deck underneath where I formed the JB Weld to form the air baffle for the exhaust on the chute. And we'll see if we can get a halfway decent look at how that's held up all these years. Oh, I think that's about all. That's about as much as we're gonna get. Okay. All right, here we go. Has it been chipping away underneath? And there's your answer, y'all. That is still the JB Weld there as I put it in 2021. That is still the way it looks, looking at it from the chute side. You'll notice that it has not worn through to the sheet metal, that thin stock sheet metal that I used at all. You'll notice we've had another Mower spindle put on each side also since 2021 because I was mowing in my yard and roots had pushed an old galvanized water line up out of the ground, and not even a tree nearby, but roots from something had just pushed up the cut-off end of a quarter-inch piece of galvanized pipe, and well, that wound up one of my blade spindles and blades. When I hit that, bent the blade and busted the bearings on the blade spindle. So and every once in a while, after more than 10 years living here, roots will still push up a brick that was buried in the ground, just a clay brick. And so got a pretty hazardous yard here to mow, and I was about to buy a new lawnmower, but why? Okay, we'll go look at it from the other side, because I swear, y'all, I'm nothing here if not real. So there has been no JB Weld added to this since 2021. And there we go. That's the way it looks from the other side, y'all. Here in 2025. After old timers everywhere told me, said, you're just wasting your time trying JB Weld on that. That will never ever last. And here it is. 2025. I don't even know to guesstimate how many mowing hours later. Totally worn out about 3 sets of blades during these years. And I mean totally just, worn them out, to where the lifts on them are gone. And that patch is still here. And I opted to do it this way with JB Weld and trying to form it all up and everything like it was originally, because in the past I have done some lawnmower repair, and I've seen more decks that have had plates, welded across the top of them just to block the clippings and everything. And what happens is the clippings accumulate under the plates and totally hold moisture and rust the deck out horribly. And I didn't want to do that with this one. If I have my way, I'm here 54 years old now, and the old engine and this sucker has never even been rebuilt one time. If I have my way, this old MTD yard machines will see me out. It will see me out if I have my way, and I probably won't. Make your predictions on that, but I'm pretty good at keeping old equipment going, if I say so myself. But I am just immensely proud of this. Right here is where the sump seal leak originally was when I got it, and you can see it's got a lot of buildup there again. And really that sump seal is probably going to have to be replaced again next year or the year after. I've retorqued it a couple of times, and it's just, you know, that paper thin seal and a very thin wall. If you're familiar with these opposing 2-cylinder Briggs engines, and it tends to blow out right there, and that's where it was blown out back when I got this lawnmower originally. And I got to say, you know, as far as bonuses go, working for an appliance store, this is the nicest bonus I've ever gotten. I think it's the nicest bonus I ever got working at that place. Just, you know, a freebie 42-inch deck MTD Yard Machines lawnmower. And I'm kind of sentimental about this stuff, so you know, I look at it and I see a time when I was younger and more fit than I am nowadays. Back then, I just took all the hood and shroud and everything off and lifted it up off of this sucker myself. I think nowadays I'll have to have help with that, but hey, she's still running. And had kind of a hard season this season because we got illness in the family, and that's a subject for another video and another time. But it's been kind of a rough 2025 here, and yard work got behind, and it really kind of annihilated the old blade belt on this to get this yard caught up this time. But notice also we still got the same battery you saw in the pictures from 2021, and it's on charge. But this lawnmower has the 7-speed, well, vari-speed clutch in it with 2 belts that come together right up underneath this doghouse here, between right there in the middle. But needing some carburetor work too. But we'll try to fire it up and see how well it fires up. Okay, come on, honey. Trying to work through the camera. But anyway, there we go. Let's see, you gonna fire up for me, baby? Gonna fire up for me. Run about 2 weeks ago, so let's see. Get on the brake, because I've never disabled that switch. There we have it. There we have it, y'all. '97 MTD Yard Machines. Still all original, except for the sump seal and obvious maintenance items. Here in October of 2025. Look at that. little skip here and there, but we don't mind. Just keep holding together, honey. Keep on holding together for me, okay? Everything's around here is antique, including my battery charger. Okay, there we have it, y'all. Not my usual topic, format, or aspect ratio, obviously. As I mentioned earlier, there's been some serious illness in the family, and I'll do a video at another point explaining all of that, but I've had to assume the role of caregiver, and it's rewarding, but it hasn't left time for me to do anything really in the electronics part of this channel. And I've been using some of my free time to go through my phone storage and kind of sort through and delete backed up videos and pictures and everything. And I ran across the video from this and a few pictures of it from 2021, and I thought, you know what, maybe I can do something with that, since I do still have it, and the repair's still holding, it's still running. And that's how this video came about. Anyway, 1997 MTD yard machines. Motor has never been rebuilt. Still has its original transmission. Still has its original vari-speed clutch. Belts have been replaced on it through the years, and of course blade spindles and blades, general maintenance items. But I mentioned Terrell Fixes All a while ago, that channel, and I do recommend for people interested in lawn equipment and just lawnmowers in particular, check him out. Terrell Fixes All. I watched some of his videos and got absolutely hooked back years ago because they are so entertaining. A lot more entertaining than mine, I'll freely admit. And at the time, I was thinking about replacing this old machine, and here it is. And I was watching Terrell Fixes All back in like 2018, 2019, and he inspired me to just keep this old MTD. He's not necessarily a fan of MTD, but he's got some great videos on how to work on all of these old MTD products. And at the time, I was looking to buy another MTD product, a Cub Cadet, which was going to be more than $3,000, and had one of those bucket engines on it. And then the deck, just the mowing deck for this thing, was going to cost like I think if I remember right, a little better than $800, and that's not even counting shipping and handling. And I was watching all those Terrell Fixes All videos about pterodactyl, just doing all of these repairs on all this. And he has a video which was dealing with engines and their common problems. And pterodactyl gave high ratings to these old opposing two-cylinder Briggs. And that plus his videos on MTD products and all just inspired me to keep this old girl and keep her going. And so here she is, 2025. My yard will never be in better homes and gardens, and my lawnmower will never be between the pages of any, if there's such a thing, a magazine, for a classic lawn care equipment or anything. But my yard's just a regular yard with its problems, and this is just my lawnmower, and it's the one I want to keep. The repair on this using the JB Weld, I think the JB Weld repair on the deck back at the time cost right at about better than $100. I'll say $200, but compare that to $800 for a mower deck that wasn't even going to have the spindles and all the associated hardware associated with it. You were just going to get just the just the deck itself. And you'll notice, yeah, I've got a I've got a place in my yard that just loves to break that wheel off. But anyway, I got to watching those videos, and Pterodactyl really makes repairing lawn equipment fun and easy. And even though I'm into antique electronics and everything, I want to give a shout out to Taro Fixes All, because his videos are really outstanding. He does everything. He's got all the production value and everything that I lack here. But anyway, that's it for this one, y'all, for Brooks Hobby Shop. And I'm going to keep going through my storage and everything, all the backed up stuff. And I might post a few more videos, you know, just maybe string some photos together and all into a musical or whatever, if you will. But anyway, in the meantime, for right now, this is what I've got. So y'all take care out there, and anybody going through caregiving for a beloved family member, you're not alone. And I know, Lord, I know it's the hardest job you will ever do in your life. I am caregiver now for my 83-year-old mother, and it's, like I said, it's hugely rewarding, but it is the hardest job you will ever do. But I don't want to really get into all of that here. I'll save that for a later video. And just know that you're not alone if you're in a caregiver position. And y'all take care of each other, and be good out there. Brooks Hobby Shop. We're out.